You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good in life. That's the definition of a good-looking person, looking for and finding the good in life. And your humble host, Barry Shore, I'm honored that you have made the time to tune in consciously and conscientiously to the Joy of Living podcast, because you know that on this particular podcast, you will learn and talk about the three fundamentals of life, which will enable you to become happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? It's a good reason for you to tune in. So let's enjoy ourselves and be aware that right now you're joined by 391,820 people around the world, all of whom have tuned in for the same reason, because you care the most, the entire world, about you. Y-O-U. And that's great, because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And you're going to learn, we're going to talk about happiness and joy a lot today with an amazing guest, a dear friend of mine for more than 4 decades. It's just, I'm so honored that he's made the time to be with us today. So right now, I just want to tell you a couple of quick stories. And it's all about you. And the three fundamentals of life are, number one, life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. In this case, a good number two. You go mad, you make a difference. And the third fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example, right now this is being carried over the internet. If you ask anybody, what does www stand for? They'll tell you it has to do with the internet. Factually speaking, they're correct. However, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? W-H-A-T-A. And of course, a tip of the hat and a big thank you to Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, for enabling this song, What a Wonderful World, to go viral and not just touch tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. And when you hear the opening bars of What a Wonderful World, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you can ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because SMILE is an acronym that stands for Seeing Miracles in Life Every Day. That's right, seeing miracles in life every day. So let me tell you, I am privileged to be able to speak to people on this medium, around hundreds of thousands of people around the world. We ask you to share this with 5 people, just 5. You want to share with 50 or 100, it's up to you, but let's 5. That way we'll touch 2+ million people. I recently spoke in person with a group. There was 1,127 people in the audience. We're talking about Barry Shore, my story, and seeing miracles in life every day. And I have some people raising their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours. I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water to eat, you have water to drink, you have food to eat, you have a place to sleep, you have family, you have friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching or you're listening, you didn't. Therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full, to live exuberantly. So let me tell you a quick story. It's about me. Imagine, if you can, I'm standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And that evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed, my neck down. It's called being a quadriplegic. And it was not from an automobile accident. It wasn't a spinal injury. A rare disease took over my body and rendered me incapable of moving. I could only communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't move. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs from my hips to my ankles for years, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of one word. The word is smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago and she says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world that she wants to live in. Now, create is a fabulous word, acronym. It stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. We're going to learn about that. Now, what I call rethinking is what I say is a slight shift in perspective, just a little shift in your perspective, and everything can change for you, for the benefit. Now, I got to tell you, I've been working with people for more than 4.5 decades, and I work with high achievers when they come to me. But 97.2% of all the people who come to me, they drop the F in shift, and the other stuff happens. So you got to be effing careful with your Fs. You want to just shift your perspective a little bit, and then what's going to happen? You'll be able to internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation will enable you to know the path of your life and the trajectory. Now, before we bring on my dear friend Blake Hennessy, which you're going to love, I love him, he's a great guy, and full of goodness and wisdom for you. I want to warn everybody that you do use a lot of 4-letter words. I usually even use the 4-letter FU word, and I do it for the shock value, and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, play, fray, play, pray, gift, free, swim, fish. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, that's right. F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and friends, I want you to have a twinkle in your eye, smile on your face. Remember this stands. So point your finger and tell everybody, F-U, everybody. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. So what are you talking about? Where'd you get that? So I listened to Barry Shore, and he had on this amazing guy, Blake Hennessy. Now you can talk about all the things that you learned, and you can share with them. You got to get attention first. That's number one. Now, before we bring on Blake, I'm going to urge everybody. I want everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously, from now the rest of your life. It will make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind always. Kind is a fabulous acronym that stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that inspires noble deeds for me more than my dear friend, wonderful, amazing Blake. Blake, please say hello to 396,922 people around the world.
Well, I hope we get it to 400,000 today. Good morning.
We will. Okay, now I urge people, if you're able to watch this, not just listen, you will get an extra treat. I mean, a monumental treat, because Blake is sitting in his office and he's surrounded by things that are the expression of his life. Basketballs and sports stuff and all kinds of great pictures and such, and lots of fish. Big fish. We're going to talk about fishing also. Blake Hennessy is a Renaissance man. If I start telling you all the things he's accomplished, take the rest of the show. I'm going to tell you 3 things. Number one, he has a wonderful, amazing wife named Barbara that they've been together for decades and decades, and it's just a marriage that keeps growing and getting better, and a wonderful son, Blake Jr. That's one. Number 2, Blake is an awesome athlete. He's a AA. He's an awesome athlete. Yeah, he's a member of AA. Awesome athlete in many different sports, many capabilities. And he continues to play and do things, even despite what other people might say, wait a minute, you're 80 years old. Yeah, what's the difference? That's just a number. Okay. And the third thing is He's a remarkably successful business being and mentor to many. So again, we're talking about being healthier, happier, and wealthier. This is Blake Hennessy. So Blake, first of all, a pleasure and a delight to have you here. Thank you for making the time. And I just want to jump in and just start talking about the B word, which is business. We both love business. And we know because business is the ultimate relationship that one can have with another person or group of people, because in the world of Blake Hennessy, business is done in what we call the most beautiful way. Everybody must win. Am I correct on that?
100% correct. If both sides aren't winning, you don't have a business relationship.
Right. Otherwise, it's just a hustle.
And it will not last.
Oh, so there you just heard the first word of wisdom, which is wow. Wow stands for words of wisdom. You might make a sale, it won't last though.
No.
And what you want and what you've done with your businesses around throughout and building up over the decades of great success is not only relationships, lasting relationships. So let's talk about business innovation in a world of post-COVID. So let's be blunt. COVID was a change in energy and pace. So give us a little bit of background pre-COVID, and then let's talk about post-COVID.
Well, as you know, the wrench was thrown into the fan on that dark day in early March when they finally shut everything down. It changed relationships, something terribly. I don't think it's totally healed from that. You still have people that are coming and going into the office. It's a lot harder to see clients. Yeah, we can see them in this medium. I am a firm believer in they're seeing the whites of each other's eyes in person. I think you're on a business relationship. If they can't trust you, they're not buying from you. If I can't trust a client, I don't have a client very long. My theory has always been that it takes an awful lot of money to generate new business. It doesn't take much to keep it. And there's a few factors in that. You're concerned about the client. You have built up a relationship of trust. You appreciate each other. And you pretty much have a client for a very long time. I kind of pride myself in that. And that goes along with regular relationships with friends. Most of my friends are lifelong friends that I grew up since we were little boys. My wife and I, we knew each other when I was 11 years old, and we've been married 58 years.
I just wanted everybody to hear that, and instead of me pulling it out from you. 58 years of great marriage.
Maybe Barbara wouldn't say they were all great years.
It doesn't matter, right? But it's a trust relationship.
Yes. Yeah. We're not, as I jokingly say now, I couldn't afford a divorce now anyway, if I ever even wanted one. But to go back to your question, that I think there's a hesitancy with clients today to pull the trigger. I think they're scared to death. Business people, especially trying to generate new business. I think it was COVID that caused this almost like a fear that, oh my gosh, if I make a mistake, I might lose my job. Where it wasn't that way so much 5, 8, 10 years ago. I think there's been a slowdown. I think that a lot of companies are having this same problem of trying to generate new business when you can't see people like you used to. You don't go out to lunch. You're not. I like to know what my clients do, their families, because I'm more than happy to share my crazy schedule of off hours with them. And I don't know how long that's going to take to turn around, but there is a distinct difference for sure.
First of all, thank you for the insights. I want to unpack something that you said, because you live it and you know it and you've experienced it for decades and you're sharing with people. In the beginning of time, every business only wants two things. I want to keep my existing customers and acquire new ones, right? It's called acquisition and retention. So
Right.
as you said so wonderfully, it is very expensive to acquire new customers.
Yep.
It's relatively inexpensive to maintain relationships when you do it the right way. You use basic smarts, you work with people, you reward people in the way that needs to be done. And we'll talk about rewards because that's your world. You are the world of rewards. That's your industry, as it were.
Yes.
And the ability to do that, to recognize that acquisition is expensive, retention is really the key to ongoing success. That's a tremendous insight right there, Blake. And you're right. The wrench, the spanner in the works, as they say in England, just shifted everything with COVID and the lockdown. It wasn't even so much COVID, it was the lockdown.
Yeah.
The shutting down of industry overnight, practically.
Yeah.
And the fear that comes out of that. So I want to ask you, in that same idea, everybody talks about two letters today: AI, artificial intelligence. What I think you are sharing with us, if I'm wrong, you'll tell me, is what I call HI, human intelligence.
I call it individual intelligence.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. It's golly, you treat a client like you would treat your wife or your child, or, I mean, it's literally common sense. I don't understand why people, not even in, you would treat a friend differently than you would treat a client. I'm sorry, but I don't do that. They're all the same.
Right.
It's kind of like I would tell our people years ago, keep it simple, stupid. I mean, don't try and reinvent the wheel every day and change a product or an approach. It's common sense approach. And everybody's got it. You were raised, you learned it. And if you didn't, you're in trouble. Just plain common sense, how to treat somebody properly and expect to be treated in kind.
I want to emphasize what you just said. And if you weren't raised with it, you're in trouble. I'm going to make a leap and say that I know you do this, but I just want everybody to hear. One of the benefits of working with Blake Hennessy over decades, and all the people that work with him, I don't want to say for you, who worked with you, is that you mentor people without having to hit them up the head with a 2x4. You mentor them by enabling them to allow common sense to rise up, even if they didn't have it. Am I right on that?
You're absolutely right. If you got to whack somebody over the head all the time, you probably don't want them.
Very good.
They'll go find something else to do. And it's kind of neat to see, not so much now because our company is more mature now, but to see young sales reps in the past and see them, the maturation into better salesmen than I am, highly successful, that they bought into the common sense. You treat them like you'd like to be treated, and you pretty much have clients for a long time. And that's kind of like the secret to our success. That anybody can go get a new account. You cut the price enough, you put enough bells and whistles on it, but the staying power is what builds corporations.
Again, you tuned in. I'm talking to hundreds of times. We're over 400,000 at the moment. Thank you, Blake. People have tuned in consciously and conscientiously because they know that in this show we discuss real fundamentals of life, like life has purpose, go mad, go make a difference. You just heard one more pearl, one more wow, that once you do and you do it right, you pretty much have a client for life, which, let's call that what it is. That's an income stream for life.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. People talk about how do I earn this? How do I earn that? You can have an income stream for life when you do what Blake is sharing with us. And he's not just speaking it, he lives it and has helped others. And I love that line. We're going to go to a break in just a moment. That these people, thank God, now with your mentoring and learning this, they're better salespeople than you. And that we love that. We love when people exceed us. That makes us happy, right?
Yeah, that's I heard a saying years and years ago. You should always be better than your coach.
Woo!
And
Wait a minute. On that high note, don't go away. There's more Blake Hennessy coming back on the other side of this break. We love our sponsors. We vet them. We wouldn't have them. We didn't think they're worthy of your time and attention. So we'll be right back. Don't go away. Blake Hennessy dropping these pearls that are a benefit for you. Be right back. We Americans take about 20,000 breaths every day, and we spend an average of 90% of our time indoors. Now, the indoor air that we breathe can be up to 100 times more polluted than outdoor air. That's according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Indoor air pollutants can cause respiratory systems like sneezing, congestion, scratching throat, and even more serious health problems like lung and heart disease. So what's the solution? Is there a solution? The answer is yes. I'm here to tell you about Air Doctor, the air purifier that helps filter out 99.99% of dangerous contaminants so your lungs don't have to. This includes allergens, pollen, pet dander, dust mites, mold spores, and even bacteria and viruses. I'm going to make a confession. I use it and we love it. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you don't love it? Just send it back for a refund minus the shipping. Go to airdoctorpro.com. Use the promo code JOY, J-O-Y, and you'll receive up to $300 off air purifiers. Exclusive to my podcast listeners, you will also receive a free 3-year warranty in any unit. That's an additional $84 value. So go and get this special offer now. Go to airdoctorpro.com, 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 and use the promo code JOY, J-O-Y. You will thank me. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe you're good-looking, so I was looking for and finding the good. If we found good in abundance, our cup runneth over with good. His name is Blake Hennessy, and he's sharing with us the ability for you to actualize your common sense and therefore not only never worry about getting a paycheck, but having an income stream for life. Okay, Blake, let's talk about business. We talked about pre-COVID, post-COVID. Let's talk about business from your perspective 40 years ago. Let's just put that in context. We're now in the month of June in the year 2024. People might be watching this or listening to this 100 years from now, 200 years from now. So that's why I wanted the date. So let's go back 40 years. 40 years will take us to 1984, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus minus 1984. Which is, of course, previous century, different world. It was a world where people could see each other, do business together. What's the industry that you are in, and what were you able to do 40 years ago about being able to go to market with a relatively small company and create something and talk about the ability to make decisions and grow? I know it's a lot to unpack, but just what was it like 40 years ago?
I could still play basketball.
Wait a minute. Well, let me just.
Not too bad. I'm not obviously when I was much younger, but I didn't have the aches and pains that I do now. As far as business, it was entirely different. It was a male dominant, and there's been a gigantic change to a female dominant. The HR areas 40 years ago were the good old boys, and it was all men, martini lunches, I had one client that had 3 of them, and I hung right in there with them. I walked him back to his office, and I had to sit on the front steps on Michigan Avenue and recover before I could, because I didn't know where my car was. What we did, your approach to sales was entirely different then. It was more, there was not the detail that was required since then. And that detail started about 20 years ago, where they start to get 18 gazillion bids on one program, and the decision takes forever. And I think a lot of that happened to be with the teaching of how business was done in Japan at the time. That was the like the gold standard, which meant it moved very slowly. Up until then, it was the good old boy, and if he liked you and you liked him, we cut a deal over lunch, and that's how we went to market. It was kind of it was scary for us. When my partners and I started this company, we had left a major Wall Street Wonder Boy corporation. We were funding the business right out of our hip pocket, which was scary as all get out. And
you were in competition. And you were in competition with that big boy.
Yes, sir, we were. Yeah, and an even bigger boy that was the main competition at that time. We caught lightning in a bottle and developed a program that made so much sense. It was, for about 5 years, was like fishing in a barrel. It was, as soon as you exposed the idea to a client, I mean, I had some that I walked in on a cold call and walked out with the order. It changed that quick. And it wasn't so much of our skills or anything. It was the concept of what we'd done. And I guess that was a skill too, that we put this program together. And with people like you, it helped us along the way as distributor or a vendor to us. So that it put us on the map a big time. It killed a couple of our competition. They went bankrupt trying to figure out what the heck we were doing. Everybody in the industry now does this in one form or fashion. So we like to talk that we are the architects of it, but we're a highly successful company now with nearly $500 million in sales a year.
Okay, I want to put you on pause for a moment, because I want to detail a few things along the way, because $500 million in sales ain't hay. That's a big number. Okay, so you said going back 40 years and such, American businesses were copying the Japanese standard, which means move at glacial speed. And I'm going to say this, part of that had to do with an American person who brought to Japan the ideas that they used their culture. That was Peter Drucker.
Yes.
So Peter Drucker, the American person who really revolutionized business, I think, in a most positive way, really revolutionized management and tracking and such. Well, the Japanese just loved him. They enshrined him. And what they did is they incorporated into their culture, which by itself was glacial. So they took the same ideas, and they did very well with them. Except from a perspective of getting things done, as it were, it was glacial, was difficult at best. And what happens is, what you did with John Thorpe, may he rest in peace, great guy, you as two partners, young guys, drinking a lot of liquor one night or over a couple of nights, and recognizing what the industry, I'd like you to detail a little more. It's called the rewards industry, which is an industry itself of recognition. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say one of the most fundamental aspects of the human condition is being recognized. In any way, whether it's a hello, a wave, a hug, recognition is vital to the human condition. What you were doing, and the big boys in the competition and such, you were using things to create recognition, which is very nice, and it worked for a long time. What you and building with Thorpe I want you to tell quickly how much you did in sales, let's say from within 1 year to 3 years to 5 years, because the numbers are fun.
Yeah, they are. Our first year we did $600,000. About our 8th year, we were in the $10 million range.
Okay, well, everybody here, because that they could not have thought that was going to happen.
No, not that fast. No,
Right.
It was kind of like it was when we started the company. Said we were going. It's a bunch of salesmen, a company for salesmen, and by salesmen. So if we were surviving, it was okay. We never had an envision of getting this big. Never, ever, ever. I guess, sure, you know, sit and daydream while you're driving down the highway to the next client. You know, we always thought, holy cow, if we ever got this big, but it came literally almost overnight. We started in a little storefront in Statesville, North Carolina. And then we thought, oh, geez, we better get the other store next to us so we could connect the two stores. Made it look like a factory, but it really wasn't a factory. It was just basically a warehouse and guys stumbling over each other. There was only 8 of us and a couple salesmen. And then all of a sudden, when we caught on with doing a choice service award programs, and that's pretty much where we cut our teeth. For years of service, they get an award. And in the past, it had always been jewelry. And that was my background. I was senior designer, one of the largest user of gold in the world, designing class ring, and not class rings from, they did that, but I did the commercial end of it, Super Bowl rings, world championship, that kind of stuff. And no, our design was not to have why tie up a whole chest drawer in your bedroom with lapel pins from 40 years, a different pin every 5 years, and they're all collecting dust and nobody wears them, and you're poking holes in $50 ties, now $200 ties. So we said, why not put that money into allow the employee to make that choice? So choice service award program.
Did you hear that, everybody? Choice is the key.
Yep. It really was. And we John and I thought about it when we first started. John had kind of started the company and talked me into coming. And we talk about it, but we couldn't figure out how we could do it so it would be easy for the client to disperse the gifts, to allow for the choice. Once we figured that out, which was literally in an afternoon and early evening, we at a sales meeting. John and I, we sat down, we started talking about this, and all of a sudden, John got up and sent everybody to the country club, the whole sales meeting, except John and I and 3 or 4 other people. And we developed the program in about 7 hours on big boards. I was a commercial artist, so I could quick put the illustrations together. And we ended up bringing them back about 9 o'clock that night, said, here's what we're going to start doing. And about 6 months later, we had a big world presentation. We called it. It was here in the Chicago area. Actually, my backyard was the entertainment center, and we introduced it to the world, and it exploded. It just exploded, and it's kind of neat to see something like that come to fruition. But again, you know, if you don't have the right people, it would not have. And we still have 5 of our original people from 41 years ago.
Woo! This is the 3rd time you've mentioned people. You have friends that you've had for decades on end. Business relationships that have transcended time and space. Yes. People in business that work with you, and again, it's all built on trust. It's people. People do make a difference. I want to mention Peter Drucker again, because I found this so fascinating. As he says, there are only 2 aspects of business: innovation and marketing. So you just touched on both. Innovation is, wait a minute, what can we do that's, I'll say like this, faster, better, cheaper.
Right.
We can give choice. Well, how do you do that? Well, do this and this. And I'm going to make it funny because I know something about Blake's deep background. So he was in design. And where did he learn design? He learned design at an interesting university in Illinois. And one of his teachers is one of the most innovative, creative human beings that ever walked the planet, named Bucky Fuller, or for those who don't know, R. Buckminster Fuller.
Yes, sir.
And you learned design, or he was one of your teachers for design, right?
He was indeed. Yeah, we knew we were sitting in class and lecture in front of a genius, because everybody told us that. In those days, you didn't have the research available that you do now. In 10 seconds, you can call Siri and ask her about Buckminster Fuller in a heartbeat. But the class would start at 7 o'clock, and it was supposed to be an hour. And sometimes at 10 o'clock at night, he was still ripping and snorting up on stage and at the podium, and we had run out of all the vending machine soups we could to trying to keep food in this. It was funny. We'd be there for design. All of a sudden, he's talking about the human spirit, and then he's talking about marriage, and then and love, and how is that all wraps into the feeling of a design of how a building should look, or an item should hold in your hands, how it should feel. And the guy was, afterwards, I sit back and I think now, oh my goodness, he's now considered one of the top 5 minds of the 20th century. It's mind blowing that he was sitting at Southern Illinois University, but I was thrilled to do it. And his wife was a sweetheart. I was playing basketball and come home at night to my apartment, and I'd be all beat up at my size. I was a small man playing a big boy sport, and she started talking to me, and then all of a sudden she started bringing out plates of cookies that she thought I might like. So it was kind of funny. Then when I'd have to go back and see him, he said, "I hear you took a whole plate of cookies home last night." And I went, "Yes, sir, I did." But it was quite a thrill. As Bucky said, I'd probably kill people with my math, but the designs of the buildings and work that I did, he said, was creative. So I figured, okay, I better get out of this and go into graphic design.
I am truly appreciative, and the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are listening. And again, share this with 5 people. So 2 million people can be touched by this. What you just shared with us, you can't buy. And let's just, again, those people who've never heard of Bucky Fuller, I'm sorry for you, but you can look it up and you'll get amazed by it. But the ability to invoke the idea of putting into an object, let's just call it a bowl. That the bowl is no longer just something made out of a particular material, has a shape, that it's infused with an energy. That he's talking to you about making sure that when you're designing a building, that it is involved with energy and feeling and love and understanding that people are going to inhabit it, and that all of that needs to be part and parcel, or else you don't have a long-lived item.
No, you don't. It doesn't have to be a building. It's a relationship would be the same way. But it's got to fit, and it's got to be nurtured, and it has to be appreciated and recognized. Maslow's theory on you can read all the behavioralists in the world, and the one main thing that always stuck out to me was that thank you.
Thank you.
It really says so much when you really think about it. I mean, it says thank you, but it says, hey, I recognize you did something for me, and I appreciate it. A good example, you'll go into a building or shopping area, and you open up a door and you hold it for the lady or the guy or gentleman that walks by. And you don't hear a thank you. Or you let a guy into traffic in an automobile that you're pulling out of a gas station, and you let the guy in. Yeah, he doesn't wave. Well, that correlates back to the same thing that we try to do, is that, all you had to do is say thank you. That was the recognition. That's all I was looking for. Makes me feel good when somebody says thank you. Makes me angry when I do it and I'm not recognized. So if that happens, just a little micro example like that, imagine what a business world would be like if the employer never appreciated the employee, and vice versa. I mean, it'd be a pretty rotten place to be around. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather be out on a lake fishing.
Right. Oh, wait a minute. What a segue. Because we're going to talk about fishing. Fishing is a unique and important aspect of this being called Blake Hennessy. It invigorates him with life. We have a minute before, something we're not. We're going to go to a break because we're going to come back and do a little more of a deep dive into fishing. It's so important for your well-being. We'll be right back after this brief message. We love our advertisers. We urge you to consider using their products and services. Be right back. Don't go away. More Blake Hennessy on the other side of this.
What if you could shop at your favorite local stores, swipe your current credit card and get extra cashback rewards? And what if you could also have donations sent to your favorite cause at no extra cost to you? What if this amazing program was absolutely free and very simple to set up? Well, What If is here. Welcome to Einstein Cares, where your everyday shopping gives you and your favorite cause extra money. It's fast, it's easy, and effortless.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe good-looking, so I was looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. It's amazing. Blake Hennessy giving us insights that go back decades and go forward. See, that's the interesting thing here. We're not talking about reminiscing and talking about what was. We're talking about what is and what can be. When you are involved in recognizing another human being in life, you are going a great distance to creating an ongoing relationship, even if it's not with that person. Because what you're doing, you're bringing good, positive, purposeful, powerful energy into the world, as Bucky would say, and as Blake says. And he says, okay, baby, gone fishing. Fishing. What the heck is fishing all about, Blake? And if, again, those people were able to see, Blake has some pretty big fish on his wall. Are those just plastic things that you bought? Or those
No. I paid a lot of money to have it, but both catching it and having it immortalized on the wall. Now, I grew up in a little lake, a private lake in Michigan when I was a little boy. So I was running an outboard when I was 5 and 6 years of age. I'd be out there most of the day waiting for my dad to come home.
Wow.
We were blessed with a rainbow trout lake in the lake area in Michigan. And so I'd be out there catching perch and goofing around. Then I'd go scouting for what my dad and I were going to do that evening, was go catch trout. So I started real young doing it. Obviously, through high school, I lost my father when I was a sophomore in high school. He died of a heart attack. And so I didn't have a lot of time then to goof around with fishing. I had to get a job in the summer. I was a dynamiter at a sand mine. It's kind of an interesting story. The sand mine is the richest deposit of sandstone in the world. And each grain is perfectly round. It's now used. It's the only place in the world where it is like that. And it is used for now 3 train loads a week. When I'm talking train load, I'm talking 100, 150 car trains pull out of my hometown to go up into the oil areas in the Dakotas for fracking. So after I got out of college, obviously I had fished during that time, but not anything of any particular interest. And So I started going to Canada. I was following my father's footsteps that I wasn't old enough to go when he went. And that led to literally fishing around the world. When I mean around the world, I mean truly. I just wrote some of them down the other day when you asked me about this, and I thought, holy cow, that's a lot of money. I figured my wife has been I have been away from home at least almost 4 years just to go to Canada. If you add up all the trips, it is kind of funny. I guess if you live long enough and you like go fishing, that'll probably happen. But I enjoy the solitude. I enjoy the challenge. We've some of my friends and I go on a solo trip every year in the fall. But you go to different lakes and you can go to the greatest lake with fish jumping out of the water constantly and not catch anything. So it's a challenge. It's kind of like a sail, like a business challenge to me. I relax. I get to smoke more than one cigar a day. So I take a quantity up with me, but
Right.
yeah, when you see the Northern Lights, there's something else besides your little world.
Okay, I need to put you on pause here because there's something that I didn't realize. So you go so far north that you're able to experience the
Yes.
Northern Lights.
Yes. Yes.
You're
I mean,
not
I've,
just
I've,
seeing
I've
them.
seen the Northern Lights where you could read a book. They've been so bright.
I
For
want
hours
everybody
on
to hear
end.
okay, people, you got to hear this stuff. And if you don't know about the Northern Lights, okay, today you Google it and see a video. It's not the same as what
No.
Blake is talking about. Experiencing the otherworldliness of our world.
Yeah, you're humbled real quick. You really are. Yeah. The first couple of times when I saw that, one time by myself, I was in tears. It was moving. The vastness of space, I guess, but it is awe-inspiring. That's all I can say. It can quiet anybody in a heartbeat.
I think we just came up with a great alternative to AI, not artificial intelligence, awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
So when anybody says the words AI today, which is happening all over the world, everybody's talking about AI. I want you to hear these two words. It just came from our dear friend Blake. Awe-inspiring. That's what real life's all about.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. I like to, a great day for me fishing with my friends is to go out in the morning, whoever's going to be riding in my boat for that day. And some of the places where we go, we can't even have shore lunch. It's not advised because of the barren land grizzlies and so forth. So you make sandwiches in the morning and you just kind of raft off out in the middle. You can't see across a lot of these lakes. And then there'll be 2 or 3 boats there, hopefully 4 boats. Then that means there's 8 people fishing. And then I pick out I ask everyone who hasn't caught any fish today or who wants to go do something special like fly rod fishing for northern pike or somebody hasn't caught lake trout all morning. Mostly newer people that I like to bring along. That way, I think if I keep bringing younger people, then eventually they'll start taking me. So I won't fish all afternoon. I'll guide the rest of the day and put them on fish. And it's nothing. There's not. A few years ago, a very good friend, I put him on a little over 100 northerns on a fly rod that afternoon.
What?
Yeah.
100?
100. My hands were pretty beat up handling them because I didn't want him handling them because he was trying to learn how to throw a fly. So I would sit there and tell him, in that part of the world, you sight cast, meaning there are not a lot of weeds. So they sit down in the silt and all you can see is basically their eyes and the top of their head. So you sight cast them. So when I would say out 35 feet or 25 feet, I mean 25 feet, not 20. But you got to drop it right on him. And yeah, he caught a little over 100 fish that day. He still talks about it. But it was kind of neat. My hand, as I said, my hands were pretty beat up handling that many fish in a day. But I thought it was just so cool that, I mean, it's probably the best fishing trip he ever had in his life, and it all happened in one day. But I love to do that. It's peaceful, it's quiet, and I recharge my batteries doing it. And someday I just turn the motor off and float. Just sit out there. I've taken naps out in the middle of the lake and wake up and wonder where in the heck I am. Because there's no, you don't have very few reference points that far north.
That I like that. You were drinking life by napping in the complete arms of the Lord.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people, that's kind of like going to church for me. Appreciate God's work. I mean, it is beautiful. It's so pristine and quiet. I've been in a boat fishing, standing all by myself in the middle of the afternoon, drifting, bumping up against islands and having bears 10 feet walk right behind me. They didn't care. I should say I didn't care. I froze more than anything.
Well, that's why they didn't care. You were frozen.
But that's northern fishing. I mean, that's the far north fishing. Excuse me. I like to do a lot of saltwater fishing too. I cut my teeth in Costa Rica and set a Central American record on roosterfish 35 years ago. Where there's fish and somebody will go, or you can have the equipment, I'm more than happy to go and do it.
Blake, this is so wonderful. I'm loath to say the words I'm about to say. Our time together is coming to a close. I'm so appreciative you made the time to share you with us. I have 3 quick questions for you. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Number 1. Will you come back again?
Sure.
Woo! Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
as long as that audience didn't go to 200,000 instead of 400,000.
Yeah, God willing, we'll keep growing. I want that to have the same numbers as FLARP. I want to go from 400,000 to 10 million
There
in
you
a
go.
couple of years,
There you go.
and then grow. Keep growing. Okay,
Yeah.
Next question. Blake Hennessy, amazing man, dear friend. What is your most fervent desire?
Whoa. You didn't give me a heads up on that one.
Thank you.
Desire. Gee, I really don't know if I have a key one. I'm pretty content with what I have, what I've been given, what I've earned, what I've kept. Of course, you'd always want more, obviously, but I don't have. I'm not really wanting for anything other than a long, healthy life, which, knock on wood, has pretty much been what I've had. And I would hope my family, my immediate family, is in that same boat. But I don't know, Barry. I don't know if there's an ounce of wisdom I can impart on that. I'm pretty happy.
I'll tell you, I'm going to unpack something. You did. Appreciate what you've been given, what you've earned, what you've done with it, and to be in a place of contentment.
Yeah,
That's a great idea for everybody. Recognize what you've been given, earn, use it, and be in a place of contentment. Wow, that's great. Okay,
yeah,
number 3.
I've always said if I ever won the lottery, yes, I would splurge on myself and my family a bit, but I'd like to give a lot of that back because I really don't need a lot more. I really don't. needing and wanting are entirely two different things. And, you know, do I really need anything? No, I really don't.
Thank you. All right. And the third is, may I give you a hug in front of 406,920
Very short hug.
Yes. Now, to tell you again, HUG stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And again, you're listening to The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore, and our amazing guest, Blake Hennessy. And we urge you, everybody, to understand that this show is about you, all about you becoming the best you, and using the 3 fundamentals of life. Number 1, life has purpose, as you heard from Blake. Number 2, go mad, go make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world, as he has done, is doing, and urges you to do. And the third is unlock the power and the sequence of everyday words and terms, such as WWW, what a wonderful world, smile, seeing miracles in life every day. As my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Just a slight shift in perspective. Keep that F in place, and then use choice, as Blake told us. Choice, not chance, determines your path in life and your trajectory. And as he mentioned, and I urge everybody, use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously, and you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind always. Kind, as I said about Blake, keep inspiring noble deeds. So there's a blessing that we want to share from Blake and Barry. It is, go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad, go make a difference. Blake, don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.